Welcome to Around Town, featuring what's happening here in the greater Concord area as we now are in the month of December. And yes, the holiday season is full bloom right now and getting ready for Santa. And of course, Hanukkah comes in later on this month along with Kwanzaa. And the football season's in full bloom too, because my Michigan team is going to the Orange Bowl in Miami. But unfortunately, I don't have a ticket. So I guess I'll have to watch it at home. But today I'm very pleased to have as my guest Captain Sally Warren. She and her husband are the commanding officers for the Salvation Army here in Concord. And we're very pleased to have her on. And how long have you been with the Concord Salvation Army now? You're basically new somewhat, right?
In the Concord area, this is going on our completing our third year.
Third year, wow.
But we've been in New Hampshire our entire time. We were down in Derry, then up in Laconia, so it's our third appointment in this little state.
Are there many chapters of the Salvation Army in New Hampshire?
We have quite a few. There's Nashua, Berlin, Manchester, Derry. We have Laconia, Concord, Keene, Berlin, Portsmouth, Hampton, all over.
So Berlin would cover like Coburg, Pittsburgh, and all the northern towns up there, right? Is that how it works, though?
For the most part. Areas that we don't have a main core location, I want to say like a bigger location, we send funds to what we call service units, and so that they're able to distribute Salvation Army funds in that community, even if there's not a core officer available to run that location.
Well, that's good then. I know when I get talking about holidays, of course, every New Year's Day, we watch the Tournament of Roses parade, and of course the Salvation Army has their band marching in there, and that's a very large band. They used to have a beautiful float, but I don't see the float anymore. But they always had a float, but that band, I noticed them marching in it. Are those people from all over California, or just...
I think that they are selected people from the area, from all over that kind of gather. Sometimes we have a great band, a New York staff band down in New York City that plays all over the world.
Really?
And a lot of different core locations. They have their own little private band. We try to have a youth band right now, trying to get that going a little bit at our church, but we're not as successful, but the kids try very hard. So.
Well, I know for years here in Concord, and they were always in the Christmas parade, they used to have the brass band, and it was adults, basically. There was like, I think about 7 pieces, if I remember right, because they would ride on a truck or something, and or they would sit on a small low bed. And they were you could really hear them. They did a good job playing the brass band. It was very good. And then, as you say, they kind of pooped out or whatever. But, it goes in cycles, I think, Of course, I have to say, as a kid, Concord, before they changed the Main Street around, I can remember back in the late 50s and 60s on Main Street at this time of year, they had 2 red huts, and they were on each side of the street, because we Concord, before they changed Main Street around, on one side of North Main Street was Newberry's, the 5 and dime, Kresge's, and then Grant's, and then they had other stores in between there. On the opposite side of the street was Woolworth's and Penny's, and then there was a shoe store and other little shops down there. And in front of Newberry's and Woolworth's were the 2 Salvation huts. And they were made of wood, and they would have to be brought up there by a trailer or whatever. And during the holiday season, you'd see them out there with the kettles, and it would be Christmas music playing from the hut. It was very, very nice to hear the music and things. And I don't know how well they did, but and then if it was bad weather, the volunteer could go inside and stand, and because it had windows and things in it. But I think the most famous person that I've always associated with the Salvation Army in Concord, and I know you know who she is Minnie Proud. And she was just a sweet lady. I think she was all of maybe 4'9", 4'8", maybe 5 foot if she was that. But in the summertime, we'd see her. She'd be on Main Street or the fall, and she'd have her folding chair, and she would have her, I would say tambourine, and with her watchtower, right?
Nope, the war cry.
War cry. Have her magazines there, but she would always speak, and she loved kids. Oh, she would just reach out to the kids, and she always had that smile. And I remember telling back, I was on that board, Salvation Army board, back in, I think it was 85 or 86. Because Dana Smith, my boss, was on there too. And I said, and I can't remember who the captain was. And then another captain came in 2001, 2002, and he was a younger guy, him and his wife, because I was with the Centennial Senior Center for a while doing activities, and we had a satellite office down there. And I said to him, I said, gee, you should do an annual award in her memory. Somebody who's done some outstanding or something, say the Minnie Pride Award or something like that. And he had there was a picture of her on the wall down there.
We still have it.
Do you really?
We do.
Yeah. Everybody knew Minnie. Everybody knew her. But, and I can remember, my mother always said that if she had charities that she was going to donate to, the first one would always be the Salvation Army. Because, and I can see why, because they do so much to you. Not saying others don't, but I'm sure it's because it was during the Depression that my mother and my grandparents and my other aunt who lived with them and our cousin, they went to, I've said this story so many times, but they went to bed, on Christmas came one year, they had nothing. They had a tree. My grandfather was laid off. My grandmother, of course, didn't work. They raised chickens and things like that and sold eggs, but they didn't have very much. And then she said sometime, either that day or the next day, someone came to their house with a bag full of gifts and food, and she said it was the best Christmas they could ever had. And I know it was the Salvation Army because the way she described it. And so that's what she said. If I have what I give, it's always to them. And so, they do a lot of good. And now you're busy with the STAR program, or the program you have for kids.
Yes. We're off and running. Right now we have over 580 children signed up, and the names keep coming in. So we're probably going to reach at least 600 kids in the Concord area and the surrounding towns with Christmas gifts or help in some way. And the numbers just, like I said, just keep growing. We're kind of expanding it this year. We had some leftover toys because Toys for Tots will call us up and say, hey, we have some leftovers. Can you take them? And we'll take them, but we can't sell them. And so we try to reach out to some of the nonprofits, some of the schools. But this year we're opening it up to some of the grandparents too, to come in after all the parents came through and pick out some toys for their grandchildren.
That's nice.
If they need some help.
That's nice.
Because some of these grandparents that are calling, they have 9 to 10 grandchildren that they're trying to find some gifts for, and it gets expensive on a limited budget. So.
It is. It's unfortunate the way Christmas has gone. Because when I was a kid, and I'm 64, but when I was a kid, we used to look at we'd go visit my paternal grandmother on the farm in Salisbury, and she would have the Spiegel, Montgomery Ward, Sears, Christmas catalogs for us kids to look at, and we always would pick out this stuff. But for her biggest thing was she did a lot of sewing and crocheting and knitting. So we always knew we were going to get new hats, new mittens, new scarves, you know, but it was tough for them, and you know, with the grandkids. And now today, with all electronics and everything, kids, I mean, and they want things like that, even though they know they probably can't, their folks can't afford it. But hey, they want to be like the rest of them.
Right.
But now, do you have a system where I come in, I'll say, okay, my name is Dick Patten. I have children that need some gifts for Christmas. But yet, I've gone to somebody else and said, okay, I'm Dick Marx. I need some gifts for Christmas. Or I'm Ian Patten. I need gifts for Christmas. Do you have a way to cross-check this so they're not double dipping everywhere or triple dipping?
We do. We do ask for some different proofs and some identification when the people come in, so they can't give us one name and go somewhere else and give another name. But Friends of Forgotten Children, which is another great organization in town.
Cheryl's a good woman.
We do sign a release. All of our clients sign a release that we do compare lists with other organizations.
Yeah.
The schools this year have reached out to us and they said, hey, a lot of them have said, can we help and go with you guys? And so we've asked the parents what school their child goes to. So if they go to Runlet Middle School, we can give Runlet Middle School their students back so that they can do some shopping for them. That way to help eliminate some of the stress on the school with trying to organize it.
Oh, yeah.
And also they're still focusing on the children that they see every day and that they love and they want to help out. And so it's been a very easy transition for us this year and a really great turnout so far of people wanting to help and really give back.
It is tough, you know, but I think what bothered me was, now I don't know if this is still going on, I'm hoping it's not, but the one year that we had our satellite office down there, we took kids, you know, from the program there, my wife and I did, and when I went into the office there a couple of days after Christmas, I could not believe there were like 8 to 10 bags of gifts still there. The people never picked them up. And I thought, how terrible. Did the kids think that Santa didn't bother with them? You know, that's sad. What do you do with that case? You try to...
We do have all the contact information, so we are able to contact the parents. Sometimes it's a matter of something happened and they were either not able to come in or that they were blessed. Maybe they got a bonus at work or something and they really didn't need the gifts. Or some of them, unfortunately, we have people start signing up with us in October.
Really?
So sometimes they might have had to move away or something happened and they were no longer needed.
Good, because I said, my gosh, what do the kids think? You know, that Santa forgot them or something.
But there's other places like the fire station on the Heights on Christmas Day. They'll open up their doors and they receive some gifts. Like we're going to be giving them some of our leftovers if we have any. To give out to anybody who really needs that last minute gift.
I didn't
still.
know that.
So there's always those people at the last minute, or just something happens and they had an unexpected guest that morning come, and a child from out of town shows up. So it's a great way to kind of the procrastinators at the last minute.
How much does the public know about that? I've never heard of that.
Well, we're starting to kind of tell people a little bit more and more because after the 9th of this tomorrow, we're really unable to take a lot of more intakes because we really have to focus on stuffing all the bags, getting all the gifts in the right families, because that takes us a full week, almost 24 hours a day to do with numerous volunteers. And so we're going to kind of start referring people to that program if they're still last minute, can't find anything. So
now, do you still know, they used to years ago, I remember this too, the prison, Salvation Army used to go to the state prison with gifts for the inmates up there. Do they still do that?
Currently that's not a program that we have. Might be something for me to kind of look into. I'm assuming that they'd have to be very restricted items. I know we've tried to go to a few nursing homes in town with some like no-slip socks and little mugs and things like that, but a lot of the nursing homes, they're really well visited in this area, and so they pretty much tell us we're okay. So
that's good though.
We'd love to do it again if we can find an inn somewhere, but we don't want to overwhelm people either. So.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's good though.
Mhm.
How many families do you have now in your congregation? Yeah.
Family-wise, I'm not sure.
So at a normal Sunday service, you would get like maybe 50, 75? Or
Probably anywhere from about 30 to 50,
do you?
depending on
Yeah.
the time of the year and the week.
Yeah, oh yes, yeah, oh yes.
But I don't know what it would be if everybody came at once. But a lot of our folks, some live in Ware, some live
Really?
in further places, so they're able to come every now and then, and others have jobs that they have to be pulled away for, unfortunately, on Sundays. So when they have their rotation off, they're able to come and visit. So, but we have about 30 to 50 on a regular basis for a
I
Sunday.
remember years ago too, in January, before they started Lent or Ash Wednesday, they used to have what they called pulpit exchange. And I can remember the captain of the Salvation Army participated in that. He would go to First Congregational or St. Paul's or some Wesley Methodist. Some of those churches, they all used to switch around their ministers for one Sunday.
Huh.
And I don't know if they still do that or not, but that used to be a big thing.
Not really. We do have some retired officers in our congregation that will speak every now and then. We have some young adults that have really felt the call to share a message, and so
Really?
we've allowed them to preach on Sunday.
Wow.
But we're pretty open to share our pulpit, and as long as the message is true to the Word of God,
That's
then
right.
we're
Sure. Yeah, that was a
to
big
it.
thing. It was. I don't know if they still do that or not, but yeah, it was like Manu community and all the congregation, all the Protestant ones would do that. But now I know I talked to you on the phone too about the Sunbeams. They still have the Sunbeam program for the girls.
We do. We've got Sunbeams, Girl Guards, and then for the boys we have the Explorers and the Rangers. We have I think it's about 20 kids signed up right now for what we call our troop night, where they come and they work on skill-based activities, and they learn how to make birdhouses and volcanoes and how to sew and cook and all kinds of neat skills, and they earn little badges like you would in the Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts. And they really seem to really enjoy it, and just seeing how they're growing, and many of them come back year after year. So it's been a fun little program, and we're looking forward to. We put things on pause during the Christmas season, but then we continue them back up in January.
Because we used to see them in the parades. I can remember seeing them in Memorial Day parade, the Sunbeams, and Christmas parade. They wore. If I remember right, the girls wore like a gray uniform, I think.
The Sunbeams.
Yeah.
That's changed now to blue, a blue
it
sash
really?
anyways,
Yeah.
and I believe a white shirt. We actually wore the sashes this year in the Christmas parade.
Oh, good.
But like, it was over their coats and kind of bulky because it's Christmas time, so
Oh,
it's cold
yeah.
and chilly. So
And the boys, they have a uniform too. They wear.
yeah, well, they wear the blue sash as well.
Yeah.
And I think the Explorers are the same. The Moonbeams, which are the younger kids, are the only ones that have like a circle lanyard, and they put their badges are almost like Velcroed onto their
Oh yeah.
big circle that said Moonbeams on it. But fortunately, all of our Moonbeams have aged out and have grown
sure.
into the Sunbeam or the Boys Adventure program. So
Yeah.
we only have 4 different categories for troops this year. So, but
Wow.
it'll be fun to see what they're going to do this year.
Oh, I bet. I bet. Now, how much do you? I know the Salvation Army worked very closely with McKenna House, because Edna McKenna, that house was named in her memory when she was a city councilor and a county commissioner for years, and now they've added on an addition to. How many people can they take in there, like homeless?
We went from 26 beds to 42 beds.
Wow.
So almost double, and it's a great expansion. We've needed it for a long
Oh,
time.
yeah,
We've
sure.
been full. People call almost every single day to see if there was a spot, and
I
so
bet.
it's something that's just a beautiful building. The expansion is wonderful. It has more handicapped accessibility now, where we didn't really have it before. We were very limited on to what type of people we could take for that handicap position, but now it could be a man or a woman. The bathroom's adequate for them, the shower's adequate for them, and we have ramp in and out exits for them. So we're very excited about that as well. But yeah, and there's more storage space now for their items, so when people come in, they can have a safe place to store their things. Because I know speaking to a few people, it was always hard of, say you just lost your home, you lost everything, and now we're saying you can only come in with like a tote worth of storage space because that's all we had before. And it was just really disheartening to say, okay, what am I going to get rid of? I've already lost so much, I don't want to lose any more. But now we have a bigger space, so if they do come with a little bit more, hopefully we'd be able to store that for them.
Sure.
While they're residents with us. But it's been a blessing, especially there is some churches in town that ran a cold winter shelter.
Oh, yes.
And unfortunately, they were only hoping to do it, I believe, for a year or so, and 10 years later they were still running it.
Yeah, that was South Congo, and the First Congregational Churches did that, and they kept saying that was it. And then last year they opened up the defunct, but the closed St. Peter's Church. This year, nothing's been done yet, and it's been cold out there. And I think, my goodness, all these city councilors ran a year ago for re-election, and not one of them mentioned about having that on their agenda. And I thought, gee, what here it is already now December, and nothing's been done.
Well,
it's sad.
Hopefully with the expansion we can help meet a lot of that need.
Well, I know, but still the
more.
need is so great out there. I was sitting there thinking today during lunch, I said, even though it's 37 degrees during the daytime, it's got to be very cold at night if someone's out in a tent, and of course they've got probably a wood fire somewhere, but still, it's got to be very dangerous out there. And I pray to God that there's no kids out there either sleeping, by themselves. But do you have any homeless teenagers now, or they go to school that need things?
Currently at our location for our shelter, we house only adult men and women.
Okay.
There's what is it called? The Friends program in town, which is the family shelter.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And so they're the ones that would take in the families with the kids. And so they would probably be able to know a little bit more about that. But currently we do not, unless you would consider 18 or 19 a teenager. But
yeah, because
we might have a few of those.
They used to have some 17-year-olds or 18-year-olds that were living there, going to Concord High or something, and they used to reach out for anybody who could help with school supplies or things like that. I know we've done that and helped them out, and I didn't know if they were still doing that or not.
Well, I know Carol Jordan actually helps with the Concord Board of Realtors. She really is the force behind it, but they give us 100 or more bags filled with supplies.
Oh, wow.
They've been doing that for at least 2 years, if not, I think 2 years now, and they do an amazing job. And we typically have bags left over, and I know, Center Point Church also tends to have bags left over as well. So most kids in the town have been very blessed with if they needed a bag or something, and both of us, we kind of give some of the leftovers to the schools in case a bag breaks halfway through a year and a kid needs one. They're able to just grab one from their closet or give us a call if they aren't able to store them. So, but it's been a really great effort on their part to do that, and it's all volunteer, and she rallies up the different realtors in the community to really fill those bags, and they bring them every year, and Girls Inc. helps them stuff all of those bags with all of the different supplies, and they really have a great job.
That's
and
good.
They're able to really pull it off quickly.
That's good.
A job that would take us hours and hours to do, they're done
sure.
within half hour or so. So it's really good getting them involved and seeing, these are going to, their kids that might need help.
Yeah. It's sad, it's bad enough when it's adults, but it's really sad when you've got teenagers like that, or, kids in general, but still in that 18, 19-year-old or 17-year-old area, it's very sad because they're still trying to go to school, but yet near being adult, and yet, it's tough.
It is. Normally you have that support of your family
That's
to
right.
enter into the college, that they might have had a little college fund for you, or just really encouraging you to take those steps. And it's not the situation for many folks, especially if they come already from a family that's struggling with poverty, because the parents might not have gone to college, so they don't know how to fill out college applications, or the price
No.
of what an application might be, or the price of what school is going to really cost in the long run, and how to apply for grants. So it could be a struggle if you don't have that helping force behind you. And so we do see a lot of that. We're actually we've started what we call a Pathway of Hope program in Concord, where we work very closely. Right now it's one person, one family that we're looking to extend to another family, where we meet on a regular basis with them and kind of take those steps to help kind of break the chain of poverty within a family, to say, what's keeping you in the state, and how can we help you get out of it? Is it that you need more education? Is it that you need help with babysitting so you can work a longer job?
Sure. Yeah.
And what those jobs look like what is the pay level you need and the income that you need to bring in to help, so you wouldn't need services from the state or the community anymore, and kind of help them be more stable and be able to have that pride again in themselves, and just really, instead of just giving people fish, which we're very good at doing, but teaching them how to fish.
That's right.
And going out there and really making a change within themselves, within their families, and hopefully their children will be able to follow these new steps for them, and saying, I want to be like my mom and dad and do what they do. And so we're very excited about the program, and how we can invest a little bit more in some people that we see visited quite a bit.
That's good, though. Good. Well, I think we're coming to a close of Around Town, and it's been very nice having you come on, Captain Sally. And
thank you for having me.
Please give our best wishes to your husband, and hopefully sometime we get him on here. But you've done very well, and we're glad to have you in Concord. And if there's anything that we can do here Around Town to get the word out there, please give us a call anytime, and I'll give you for once, I didn't forget my cards that my director got to me. So there's one for you, one for your husband there.
Thank you.
And we'd love to get the word out, so anything we can do.
Great. Well,
So we wish you and your husband and everyone at Salvation Army a very Merry Christmas and a successful New Year.
And the same to you.
And so thanks again for joining us Around Town. If you're looking for something to really do help out, please contact the Salvation Army, because I'm sure they're still looking for volunteers to ring the bells.
Definitely.
Remember right. And by giving them a call at 225-5587. And they'll be more than happy to greet you and take your volunteer help. So with that in mind, thank you to my director, Ian Marx, and we hope you all have a great day, great weekend, and watch out for the snow. It's coming. So I'm Dick Patten, your host for Around Town.